You sit down to create something, a post, a video, a story, anything really, and before you've even typed the first word, something feels like it's tightening in your chest. You start thinking about how it's going to land, whether it's good enough, whether people will think you actually know what you're talking about, or whether you'll come across as someone who's trying too hard. And so you tweak it and you second guess it and you water it down until it barely resembles what you wanted to say in the first place. Or worse, you just close the laptop and you tell yourself you'll come back to it tomorrow when you feel more ready. Here's what I want you to understand about that feeling though, because this matters. This is not about your confidence. It's about where your focus is sitting. And once you see that, you can actually do something about it. There are really only two ways to show up in your business. And I want to walk you through both of them because once you see the difference, you genuinely cannot unsee it. The first is what I call ego-driven. And before you bristle at that word, I want to be really clear that this has nothing to do with arrogance. Ego-driven simply means that when you sit down to create, your focus is on yourself. It's on how you look, how you sound, how you're being perceived, whether you're credible enough or interesting enough, or whether people might judge you for putting yourself out there. It feels like caution. It feels like perfectionism. It even feels responsible at times, like you're just making sure it's right before you share it. But underneath all of that, if you're really honest, it is just fear. Fear of being seen, fear of being wrong, that constant internal checking. Is this actually right? Could this offend someone? What if my opinion isn't really valid? What if I say something and someone calls me out on it? And so you hold back, or you soften it, or you just don't post it at all. The second way is impact driven. And this is where things get really interesting. Impact driven means that when you sit down to create, your focus is entirely on the woman on the other side. What does she need to hear today? What is she struggling with right now that you actually have the answer to? What could you say that would make her feel less alone or less confused or less like she's the only one who hasn't figured this out yet? One focus turns inwards and one focus turns outwards. And the difference in what gets created and whether it gets created at all is really quite significant. Now, I want to name something here because I think it matters, especially for the women that I tend to work with. If you are introverted, and so many of us are, the ego-driven pull is even stronger. Not because you're more fearful than anyone else, that's not what I mean, but because introversion means you process everything internally and you feel things more acutely. The imagined judgment, the potential criticism, the vulnerability of being visible, all of it lands heavier when you're someone who lives so much of your life on the inside. And so the protective instinct is to stay quiet, to only share when something is absolutely perfect, to wait until you feel completely ready. It feels completely rational to do that. It feels like the sensible thing to do. But here's what I've noticed working with women like you. The qualities that make you introverted are the exact qualities that make you extraordinary at impact-driven content. You listen before you speak. You think deeply before you act. You notice the things that other people rush straight past. You make the people around you feel genuinely heard. And that is not a liability online. That is the most magnetic quality a person can actually have. The introverted woman who stops protecting herself and starts serving her audience doesn't struggle with building a following. She becomes someone that people can't stop talking about. They want to be around her. It's worth being specific here because ego-driven content doesn't always look the way that you might expect it to. It can look like the post that you rewrote 11 times because it didn't sound impressive enough. It could be the video that you never published because you didn't like how you looked. It could be the caption that started out really honest, but then the more you polished it, it became something so safe that it was actually quite forgettable. It's the story that you didn't tell because you weren't sure anyone would care. It's the offer that you never launched because you were terrified that nobody would buy. Every single one of those moments is focus in the wrong direction. It's not focused on her, it's focused on you. And I say that with so much compassion because I have been every single one of those women at some point along the way. Impact-driven content feels genuinely different from the inside. And I think that's worth talking about because when you feel it, you'll just know. It feels urgent, like she needs to hear this. And I know she's sitting with this exact thing right now, and I have something that might actually help her. It feels less precious because it was never really about you to begin with. So that perfectionism loses its grip on you. It gets done faster and it gets shared more readily and it connects in a completely different way. Because the woman on the other side can feel when something is made for her. She can feel the difference between content that was carefully crafted to look impressive and content that was created because someone genuinely wanted to reach her. And that feeling of being truly seen is what makes her stick around. So here is something that I want you to take into every single piece of content that you create from this point forward. Before you hit record, before you start writing, before you even open the app, ask yourself one question. Who is this for? Like, this is not to be something vague or general, but like the specific woman. You can give her a name. You can see what she looks like. The one who's going to find this piece of content late at night when she's exhausted and she's doubting herself and she's wondering if she should just be giving up on her dreams of what it is that you can help her with. What does she need to hear from you in that moment? If the answer comes easily and it's about her, you're impact driven. So go ahead and create it. But if the answer is something about how you want to come across or how you want to be perceived, just pause for a moment, come back to her and start again. Honestly, that one question every single time will do more for your content than any strategy or tool or algorithm hack ever could, because content that is genuinely made for her will always outperform content that was made with one eye on yourself. The women who build something real online are not the loudest or the most polished or the ones who had it all figured out from the beginning. They are the ones who made a quiet decision at some point to stop making it about themselves and to turn the focus outward instead. To ask not, how do I look in this? But instead to ask, what does she need to hear from me today? That shift from ego-driven to impact-driven is not a one-time decision. It's a practice. And you'll catch yourself slipping back, because we all do. You'll feel the fear of visibility pulling your focus inward again. And when that happens, just come back to her. Put her at the center and create the thing that she actually needs. Because somewhere out there she is scrolling and she's looking for someone who gets it. And she is hoping, without even fully realizing it, that someone like you will show up today. So don't let the fear of how you look be the reason that she doesn't find you.